Hello, my fellow minor league nerds, and welcome to our newest Minor League Nerd Shorts episode. In this episode, I will cover the Memphis Blues, who played in the AA Texas League from 1968 to 1973. Memphis had been home to a Southern Association team from 1901 to 1960. They were known as the Egyptians from 1901 to 1908, the Turtles from 1909 to 1911, and the Chickasaws, or simply the Chicks, from 1912 until they folded following the 1960 season. The entire Southern Association shut down following the 1961 season, with Memphis not seeing another team until the Blues began play in 1968. Since 1959, the Texas League had been playing as a 6-team league after the Dallas Rangers and the Houston Buffaloes both moved up to the AAA American Association, and the Fort Worth Cats folded to make way for the AAA Cats following the 1958 season. The move to bring a new team to Memphis was spearheaded by Jerry Foley. He originally looked to join the Southern League to replace the Macon Peaches, who shut down following the 1967 season, but decided to go with the Texas League instead. The Asheville Tourists, today's Rocket City Trash Pandas, rejoined the Southern League instead, returning after one season in the Carolina League. The Blues franchise was officially announced in December 1967 and affiliated with the New York Mets. They played at Blues Stadium, which was later renamed Tim McCarver Stadium. It was a converted American Legion field that opened in 1963 and was located at the former Mid-South Fairgrounds. The other city to receive a new franchise that season was San Antonio, who are still playing today as the Missions. San Antonio had been without a team since the Bullets relocated to Amarillo following the 1964 season. The Blues were aggressive about drawing fans that first season, going as far as selling college students season tickets for $5. They were successful as 141,418 fans, the second most in the league, came out to see the Blues. It wasn't a successful season on the field though, as they finished 2 games under 500 with a 67 and 69 record. They were managed by former Major Leaguer Roy Sievers, with Rod Gaspar being the star of the team as he hit .310 with 25 stolen bases. He was the first member of the Blues to make his Major League debut with the Big League club, playing center field for the 1969 Miracle Mets. Right-hander Steve Renko threw a 7-inning no-hitter in the second game of a doubleheader against the Albuquerque Dodgers on June 21st, winning the game 1-0. During a game against the Arkansas Travelers on August 29th, while on their last road trip of the season, the two teams got into a 10-minute brawl. Travs pitcher Phil Knuckles, great name, hit Greg Goosen of the Blues. Goosen, of course, didn't appreciate it. As he was headed to first, he was blindside tackled by the Travs catcher John Ruberton after saying something to the Arkansas bench. Blues pitcher Rich Folkers received a gash on his hand that needed 3 stitches, and infielder Stu Can left the game complaining of dizziness. Goosen and Travs manager Vern Rapp were both ejected. Arkansas gained revenge though, as they went on to win the game 6-4, clinching the East Division title. A special treat for Blues fans that season was the appearance of Mets first base coach and future Hall of Famer, as of 1968, Yogi Berra, who entered the Hall in 1972. The Mets sent him on a scouting mission of the Blues, with him also coaching first during a 3-game series against the Dallas-Fort Worth Spurs at the end of August. The Blues must have been inspired by his presence as they went on and swept the series. 1969 was a much better season for the Blues, even though their attendance dropped to 107,288. They won the East Division with a 66 and 65 record, finishing 2 games up in the Arkansas Travelers for the right to face the Western Division champions, the Amarillo Giants, in the League Championship Series. Amarillo won the season series that year 9-7, 5 of the games were one-run decisions, with the Blues taking 3 of them. The Blues took Game 1 in Amarillo 4-0 behind a complete game 3-hitter thrown by Russ Seals, who had 13 strikeouts, one shy of the Blues record. Third baseman Chico Diaz drove in all 4 runs while hitting 2 homers. The Blues won up 2-0 after winning Game 2 in Amarillo 4-1 behind the strong pitching of Bob Johnson. They finished their 3-game sweep after defeating the Giants 2-1 at home, giving Memphis its first baseball championship since 1955. Their pitching staff that season led the Texas League with 17 shutouts, and lefty Les Rohr threw the team's second no-hitter in the first game of a doubleheader against the San Antonio Missions on April 20th, another 7-inning affair, winning the game 8-0. Another highlight for the team that season was hosting the Texas League All-Star Game, seeing their East Division win 2-1 in front of 5,579 fans, the largest in Blue Stadium history. Shortstop Teddy Martinez, outfielder Bob Singleton, and pitchers Jim Bibby and Bob Johnson all represented the Blues. They won the East Division once again in 1970 with a 69-67 record, with their attendance staying pretty much the same as it was in 1969. John Antonelli, who was from Memphis and who served as an interim manager for part of the 1969 season, was brought in to lead the Blues, staying through the 1972 season. He was unable to get them to repeat as they lost to the West Division champions, the very strong Albuquerque Dodgers, in 4 games in the League Championship Series. Antonelli's best pitcher was Charlie Williams, who went 12-5 in 158 innings on the mound. Williams went on to have 8 big league seasons with the Mets and San Francisco Giants. Chico Diaz led the offense with a .310 average and 102 RBIs, with first baseman John Milner also having a great season, hitting .297 with 20 homers, leading the league with 100 walks. For the 1971 season, the Texas League teamed up with the Southern League to form the Dixie Association, as both leagues dropped to 7 teams each. The association was split into 3 divisions, with the East consisting of all Southern League teams, the Central having 2 teams from each league, and the West being made up entirely of Texas League teams. Teams from the East and West divisions did not play each other. Both leagues played individual all-star games and crowned individual champions, with the 2 winners meeting to crown the Dixie Association champion. In the Southern Association, the Charlotte Hornets, who won the East Division, beat the Asheville Tourists, who qualified as a wild card team, in 3 games. The Arkansas Travelers, who won the Central, defeated the Amarillo Giants from the West in 2 straight. The Dixie Association Championship Series was won by the Charlotte Hornets, who swept Arkansas in 3 straight games. It was a down season for the Blues, who finished second in the Central Division with a 69-70 record. They were last in team hitting with an anemic .229 average, and last in runs scored with only 488 crossing the plate. Their pitching staff was led by right-handers John Glass, who went 13-6, and Tommy Moore, who went 11-10, leading the team with 160 strikeouts. Both threw 11 complete games. Moore threw the team's 3rd no-hitter, another 7-inning affair, on June 25th, defeating the Arkansas Travelers 4-0. The 2 leagues went their separate ways for the 1972 season, as they were both back up to 8 teams. In January, before the 1972 season began, the team's trailer, which housed all their records, season ticket receipts, schedules, as well as a lifetime of memorabilia collected by the team's general manager, Will Carruthers, was destroyed by arsonists. It was one of 5 intentionally set fires in a week at the fairgrounds. The Blues finished with a 75-64 record, which was only good enough for second place, as the Alexandria Aces finished 8.5 games up. Once again, they had the lowest batting average in the league, only hitting .238, but they led the league in fielding behind all-stars Terry Derrimer at second and Joe Nolan behind the plate. For the 1973 season, former major leaguer and future New York Mets manager Joe Frazier was hired to manage the team. He led them to their best finish ever when they ended the season with a 77-61 record, which netted them their third East Division title. They faced off against the West Division champion San Antonio Brewers in the League Championship Series. It was scheduled to open with 2 games in Memphis, but both of those games were rained out. The entire series ended up being shifted to San Antonio, where Memphis would play as the home team in the first 2 games. The scheduled first game in the Alamo City was, of course, rained out. When they were finally able to play Game 1, 4 days after the series was originally to begin, San Antonio won it 3-1. Memphis tied the series, taking Game 2 3-2. The Brewers took the series lead when they won Game 3 5-2, and Memphis won their second Texas League championship when they took Game 4 1-0 and Game 5 3-2. Following the regular season, Dr. Bernard Krause, who had owned the Blues since March 1971, purchased the Peninsula Whips of the AAA International League from the Montreal Expos and moved them to Memphis, where they became the AAA version of the Memphis Blues. Monroe, Louisiana advertising executive Cal Rockefeller purchased the Texas League Blues from Krause and relocated them to Victoria, Texas, where they became the Victoria Toros. But the Toros story will be told in our next Mostly Forgotten Teams episode. So that ends this episode, my fellow minor league nerds. Thank you as always for your support. Until next time, stay safe and be sure to never stop supporting minor league baseball and never stop learning about minor league baseball history.
This podcast is part of the Curved Brim Media Network. Here are some of the other members of Curved Brim Media.
Hi, this is Ed Rivera of the Dad Hat Chronicles. Join me as I interview people just like you and players, coaches, GMs on the path that led you to become a fan of the sport.
I'm Paul Caputo, and on the Baseball by Design podcast, I talk to minor league baseball teams, designers, and other super interesting people about what these minor league baseball logos mean, and I talk a little bit about ice cream helmets.
What's up, Bucketheads? I'm Anna DiTommaso, and each week on the Baseball Bucket List podcast, I speak with a different fan about their favorite baseball memories, what the game means to them, and what's left to check off on their baseball bucket list.
Hey everyone, it's Eric from the great state of Kansas.
This is Johnny from the New Orleans Baby Cakes Memorial Museum.
And we are the Earn Fun Average podcast,
where we talk to a variety of guests about their love of baseball and have fun doing it.
America, lower your standards.
Average is what we do best.
This is Patrick and Corey of BaseballMapper.com, and we have made an interactive map to help highlight all baseball teams from the majors down to collegiate summer leagues.
We want to bring you closer to baseball, so get on the site and find a team near you today.
Hey guys, this is Patrick Larson from the Minor League Baseball Hat History Series, and in every episode I go through the history of minor league teams through my personal collection of hats. You can find me on Twitter at @PatLarson1. I hope you guys enjoy.
Learn more about Curved Brim Media at curvedbrimmedia.com.